Mom or Softball Dad No More, exploring the transition out of the sport parent role. My name is Julie Partridge, and I'm a faculty member at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. So one of the popular topics in sports psychology in recent years has been exploring the transition of out of sport for athletes. And we know that there can be some coping difficulties, particularly with for individuals with high levels of athletic identity, as well as people who have had to transition very quickly or abruptly or without any warning that the transition was going to happen. However, the impact of athletic retirement on athletes has, while it has been frequently studied, we don't know as much about the experience of a child transitioning out of sport on the parents. So we do know that parental identification can be very strong, and that identification with a child can lead to several different impacts behaviorally, cognitively, affectively in regard to relationships. And we do know that this is a reciprocal relationship where parents can influence their children, certainly, but children also then influence their parents. So while there has been research that's looked at the impact of transition out of sport on parents and then parents and partners of elite level athletes, we don't know as much about retirement on parents with a non-elite sample. So the purpose of this study was to explore that experience of parents whose children had competed at either the high school or collegiate level and had recently, which we define as being within the previous competitive year, left the sport role either voluntarily or involuntarily. We engaged in snowball sampling, and we conducted semi-structured interviews, transcribed them verbatim, and then inductively analyzed the content. We did recruit both fathers and mothers, but we ended up with twice as many mothers as fathers in our sample. And the sports that these individuals primarily had their children participating in were swimming, gymnastics, and softball. So this is obviously a very quick explanation of these, but we have currently identified three major themes that have emerged: social impact, changes to family dynamics, and then connection to sport. So with the social impact, we noted that several parents discussed their relationship that they had established with other parents in their children's participation. So, you know, parents of other kids that were part of the same swim club, for example. And in fact, we had a parent who told us that their family had actually ended up going on vacation with another family that they did not know prior to their child participating. So there were certainly social benefits that they found that seemed to be common with other parents of children who were participating. Obviously, scheduling is something that it could be impacted by a child transitioning out of sports. So many of these parents noted that their schedules had opened up a great deal once their child was not participating any longer. They sort of got their weekends back. They got a lot of weeknights back, and their summers opened up as well. So scheduling-wise, their social calendars sort of opened up. One interesting thing, which will be, I would, be curious to explore more with a larger sample, would be that we did have somebody mention that their child's teammates had become a really important social component of their life. So they noted that, like, they had a child who participated in a sport in college with a teammate who was from another country. That person was not really, didn't go home typically, except maybe once a year. And so that their child's teammate spent holidays with them, and when their child was done participating, they felt like it was a real loss that they weren't going to see that person anymore. Changes to family dynamics, we have communication. So it's easier to maybe communicate with a child about practice or what's going on in sport rather than, hey, you've graduated now, what's up with your job search, have you started a 401k? And then emotions were certainly a big part of this as well. So there was discussion of, the benefits or the enjoyment of watching your child do something you love and having that be gone. And then with connection to sport, we had, 4 of the individuals did not continue to engage with sport, but then there were 2 that had continued their involvement as like running events and helping to run tournaments even after their child had participated. So we do understand that the transition out of the sport parent role is complex and significant, We do believe that they can experience transitional difficulty, and what we found was consistent with what's been found with those competing at the elite level. But with, for example, people losing an entire season due to COVID-19 or having to stop playing altogether, maybe if they were a senior, we would like to continue to explore this to see how those factors might influence the transitional process for parents. This is my contact information. I would love to hear from anybody who has thoughts or suggestions for how we can continue to improve this study. Thank you very much.